talking about how I compile references and create a mood board for any design project that I'm going to do. If you're interested in finding out how I create my mood boards and compile references, please stay tuned. So firstly, I am super excited because I want to show you guys my little embroidery of the week, and I think I'm going to start this little trend where I pick a theme each week, whether it's food, animals, objects, and kind of create 3 embroiders of that theme. Share that with you guys and just kind of hear your opinions on it. In the coming weeks, I kind of want to start selling my embroideries on sweaters and shirts, whether that's on my website or Etsy, and I definitely want to get your guys' opinion on the types of designs that I'm doing and how I can improve, whether it's the stitch pattern, the color schemes, or just the design in general, because most of the designs I am creating myself or finding references and digitizing them for my embroidery machine. So without talking some more, I'm going to show you the 3 little embroiders that I made. This one is so cute. It has a little smile. The stitch pattern is a little bit different than what I typically do. I thought it would be a nice change, and it kind of looks like hairs. The next is this German Shepherd. Right now I'm just kind of practicing and getting better at this skill in general, so I'm just using a cotton sheet to print the embroidery on and then put it in this little hoop to kind of stabilize it. But for now, I'm not going to be doing it directly on shirts and sweaters just because I don't want to mess up and then have to scrap that whole sweater and waste money essentially. And the next one here is a Doberman. And I think I'm going to put something else here because I only have 3 sizes of hoops. I kind of utilize these 2, but I had this big one left. I might add maybe like either text or another dog right beside this one just to kind of fill in the gaps, but yeah. I hope you guys like it. Again, comment down below if you have any ideas or thoughts or a certain theme I should do next week. I was kind of thinking food, but if you guys have other ideas in mind, I would love to hear it as well. I hope you all had a wonderful Thanksgiving. For the long weekend, I spent the majority of it just designing and watching Squid Games, which that's a whole nother story, but just designing and kind of getting into the groove of a new workflow. What I learned this week is having a workflow is definitely essential when you want to be time efficient and get things done. Everyone has a busy schedule, so having a workflow for the design projects that you want to have is probably number 1. Writing down this flow and following that workflow is essential for success. The next step is planning. For me personally, I like to go on Pinterest, Artstation, and look at what others have done. A big misconception, especially in new artists, is that you shouldn't reference other artists or you shouldn't use references at all. And it is most commonly misinterpreted as copying or cheating, and that is definitely not the case. We need references to do anything in life, and we learn from others and we grow and we kind of put our own creative twist on it. And especially if you think about anatomical drawings, you cannot just visually do it on the top of your head. You need to have some sort of reference of the human body to create an accurate representation of it. And when it comes to essays, you need references from others to learn and grow and incorporate that information in your own work. The same goes for art. You need to have that sort of inspiration from others to create your individualized piece. Anyway, so when I started going on Pinterest, I wanted to find something really cool and fun and something that reminds me of summer, because unfortunately summer is on its way out now and in comes fall, which is fine, but I'm kind of holding on for dear life. I wanted this shirt to be a themed fruits and colorful pastel colors that remind me of summer. And so I found this strawberry and I really liked it. And then it led me to this blackberry and then this lime, but I did not end up using those. I just kind of saved them for future use. One picture that I found was this flower and I thought, wow, this is really cool. It reminds me of kind of Super Mario Brothers and Princess Peach and reminded me of my childhood. So I'm like, you know what, let's just use it. And came up with a pocket design for a shirt. I don't want to create a shirt per se because I'm still learning how to embroider and sew. But I find that I'm kind of leaning towards the embroidery side. So I want to take a shirt, whether it's a plain black shirt or a sweater or something, and embroider a design on a pocket on the front, on the chest. And I created a little layout here of a design that I wanted to do. And I have that flower that I originally found on Pinterest along with the 3 strawberries. I put them in 3 different sizes on the front of the pocket, and I chose these cool pastel colors like a mint green and a light pink and a bold red to represent these strawberries. I think this design is super cool and fun and might appeal to young girls or even women. And you can see here I have the color palette along with the Pantones that I chose to represent the colors that are in my design. I also want to hear you guys' opinion on it. I did some embroidery to kind of test it out and I was pleasantly surprised by the outcome of it. And my first attempt, let me warn you, was not too good, only because I kind of messed up with the stitch pattern and the layering. As you can see here, you can see this is the stabilizer. I didn't cut it out yet, so don't mind that. So here you can see the strawberries were so thick because I mean, I didn't realize at the time, but when I went back into my Hatch program, I realized that this was 3 layers. That is just way too much threading. When I even attempted to go back and fill it in with the black seeds on the strawberries, it would have broken my needle again and would not sufficiently make the design. Honestly, I love this color, so I kind of kept going because this was the only sheet I had that matched the color of my design. So I'm like, you know what, let's just keep it. And I kind of let it run and also let the flower run. You can see that it's not properly aligned. There are gaps, and this printed a little bit off as well. So I'm like, you know what? Let's try again because I was not happy with these results. I happened to find a lighter, it's a little bit darker actually, a darker green, and it came out a lot better. I did switch the stitch pattern so that it is more generic, and although it's still not perfect, it is significantly better. Next week I'm going to sew it onto the shirt as a pocket, and I will show you guys how it came out. Another example of how I took a resource or reference and created my own art is through 3D printing. And I have a video on how I did this a few months ago, but I took a plain skull and I painted it and created a very original piece with just acrylic paints. Whoever created this 3D model definitely knew what they were doing, and I'm super inspired by their work. Aside from internet references that you can use to help you create your design projects, I love to also be a little old school and use books, and I have quite a few books on different subjects that I'm interested in, and I'll kind of show you what I have today. So the first book I have is 7,000 Years of Jewelry, and it is an absolutely beautiful book. I am extremely inspired by the different kinds of jewelry and pieces and designs that are in this book. It is absolutely beautiful. The book also gives a wonderful description of the artist and the dimensions of the piece, as well as a little background story of where this piece was made and the situation at the time in terms of what country that piece was made in. Secondly is a pattern cutting book. Definitely a great reference if you're learning how to sew or you want to create different items. It gives you a very accurate representation of how to cut your patterns and make a fashion piece. So for example, this is a bikini, and it really gives you a reference on how to cut all your fabrics and sew them together, and it gives you a step-by-step of how to sew it and cut it and have a successful final project. The third book that I have here is called Logo Modernism, and this is so cool because it has hundreds and hundreds of different logos and designs, and you can just look at this all day. Like, there's so many different shapes and logos, and it's super inspiring because sometimes the most simple logo has the most class. It kind of gets your mind thinking of the potential projects and designs that you can do. Honestly, I can go on all day on books. I love to buy books, but I have very little time to read them thoroughly, but I definitely love going to them when I have a certain issue and doing like a quick reference check, or even just using the images for my inspiration. So I hope you guys definitely have some inspiration that you can go towards to help you with your creative projects. Now I'm going to show you guys a little bit of the process of how I put the photos together and some websites that I use to find my images and my references. So stay tuned if you're interested, and also please like and subscribe, and follow me on Instagram because I'm going to be posting a lot in the coming weeks, kind of showing you my embroidery and little things like that. Thank you guys so much for watching this week's video. I hope you enjoyed. Please again like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys next week with a new video. Bye!